Hi there, and welcome to part 4 of our series. And this is, I suppose, a summary of a few things I wish I knew previously when I started off with video and audio editing. Firstly, I suppose naming files. What you're going to do first is you're going to record so many different things or different bits that as soon as you get back to your hard drive or you're plugging into your computer, start naming what they are, like panning across the lab or introduction material or equipment demonstration and so on. And it's just that you'll be able to find things later on and know exactly what they are. External hard drives, very important for backup. It's just these video files are very large, and when you take them and record them and edit them, you end up with very large files and your computer hard drive fills up quite fast. So you might decide that an external hard drive is what you want to work off, but you're going to have to make sure you have a fast one or one that you're backing up your material off. And you could work on your computer temporarily, and then once it's finished, maybe store them on the hard drive. So backing up important files is vital. Then where are you going to store them? Have you got cloud backup? Are you going to use your OneDrive or Dropbox or so on, so that you can have these files in case you ever needed them again? Delete as you go is another one, because again, your hard drive is going to suffer with space. Lighting, I think, is very important when you're recording video. I look back at some of the first screencasts that I did a few years ago, and I was in an office where the window was on my side, and that meant that all the videos from the webcams, half my face was really bright and half my face was really dark in the shade, and it just didn't look right. And if you can't access lighting, like a lot of people now you'll see online, on YouTube videos or on gaming and so on, they all have these light systems set up around their desk. But if obviously a lot of people wouldn't have that, but you have a window. So maybe design your room or where you're working that you're facing the window, and having that soft light, even through a blind, coming onto your face directly can make a huge change. They don't have a window behind you either, if possible, because as I mentioned before, the window behind you is so much light that what your camera does is it puts you completely in the shade, and your audience won't actually see your face much at all because of the brightness of the light behind you. So I think you really have to look at that lighting and see the impact yourself. It makes such a big change. Audio, as we said, was critical, and I think I didn't know enough about this when I started off at the very beginning. And it takes a bit of tweaking, but finding the simplest approach that works for you is what I'd recommend. There's a thing called a pop filter. So lots of microphones come with them built in. These are essentially the foam piece that goes over microphones that you'd see. And they're to stop when people say certain words that have a P in them very loud, that the P comes across extremely loud in the earphones that they're listening. And so on. So it's just something that can kind of cushion the blow of certain words that people would say. So these foam, you might need that for your microphone if you find you're hearing that. When I started uploading to YouTube, a lot of my videos were very stretched, they were very skewed, and I didn't realize that YouTube was a 16:9 ratio. And in my software, I just had to kind of tell my software, I want you to start off at a 16:9 setup. And that just took me a little while to kind of realize that. And once I had, everything was fine from there. It looks like I wanted it to look. The YouTube itself can take up videos up to full HD. You can present these at 1080, no problem. It'll automatically present videos at certain things, but people can increase the quality if the automatic one is set at a lower resolution. So I think it's important that if you're recording your videos, you get it to the highest quality that you can, and then YouTube will be able to present that, or Vimeo, or whatever you use your system. Turning off notifications when you're recording is vital in your computer. What you don't want is a little notification to come up in the corner of your computer with an Outlook email with someone's name or a bit about the email that people can see. So doing that is important, or else learning about the blur function that we spoke about in part 2 of the series. So labeling and storage of all your cables, wires, batteries is important too. We need to be able to find things and be able to put them away and take them out when we do videos. I learned a lot about, I suppose, a green screen, how you can go into videos now. And Microsoft Teams and Zoom are working on these at the moment, so that they'll put on virtual backgrounds behind you. And now what you're going to be able to do is put your PowerPoint presentation as a virtual background behind you so that you're pretty much in your presentation, and you'll be down in the bottom corner, just say your up shoulders, head and shoulders, and then behind it is your PowerPoint being presented, and that's a way that you can be in your video. I'm glad I learned how to add boxes and arrows just to add some kind of emphasis on things. I like the fact how we have mouse tracking capabilities, or where I click and the way that I'm able to switch on and off, that it means that people can follow the video a little bit and see exactly where I'm going with the mouse or what I want to emphasize. And if I click, they'll see that too. Be aware with your length of your video on some platforms. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube account, but a lot of the videos are set to a maximum length. I think it is of 15 minutes. So you don't want to create a video and then all of a sudden realize it can't be uploaded. But you can change this in your YouTube settings and have more freedom for uploading slightly longer videos. The problem with longer videos is that they're too long, and they can be too long for somebody. So consider timestamps. So timestamps are like almost putting chapters in your video. You'll have seen that on one of the videos I've shared in this series. All you have to do is put in the time in the bottom of your show description, and YouTube automatically realizes what it is. So for example, say after 3 minutes, you start talking about subject matter 2. Well, you can put in 03 semicolon 00 and then subject 2. And then after 6 minutes, 37 seconds is where the next one, you can put in 06, 30 and so on. And that way the person gets links almost in the description in YouTube to go exactly where they want, when they want. And I mentioned before the importance of blurring different segments. You don't know what's going to come up on the screen, or when you come home and you look at your video and you realize there was something, a piece of paper or something on a whiteboard in the background that you didn't spot at the time, and you want to make sure you can clear that. Well, that being able to blur different segments, as I've shown you in the second part of the series, is a very important tool. So they're just some tips that I wish I knew when I started playing with these ideas of making videos or recording audio tracks. Okay, hope they help and hope the series helps. Any questions, let me know. And finally, can I just mention one paper that I think could be a very helpful resource if you want to learn a little bit more or read into the detail of some of these. This is a paper that came from Karen Dunn in Dundalk Institute of Technology, and it was practical recommendations on the production of video teaching resources. It's published in the HJ Volume 12, Number 1, Spring 2020, and I'd have the link down in the show description. But I'd highly recommend this if you just want kind of a recap or something to read through about specific things that might have been mentioned. This paper has it all. And so I think that's one resource that I'd highly recommend to kind of have in parallel. Okay, so best of luck with your video recordings.